little buddy. What's that? What's your saving game? What's your playing the game? But I want to play with some more. You're not setting timelines on anymore, are you? There's no timer, and you're spinning my timer. And that was only for like a couple minutes. Like that one. Oh my God, it's 30. It was fine. Yeah, I tell you what, if I let you play some more, then at 10 o'clock, I have to find something for your mommy for her birthday. Okay. Yeah, that's a fun game. He can't play this all day long. Teddy, I'm not done just yet. Brenda's still here, honey. Hey, you want to come on the radio and tell Grandma happy birthday on the radio? Huh? Hey, come on, why don't you come on here with me and tell Grandma happy birthday? You can tell this Grandma's birthday. He's just interested in this. What do you need? Tell her about your back. I already died. All right, I'm back, Biffy. Let me know if Glenn's on the line. Okay.
For the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Washington County's largest gun show is back on Saturday and Sunday, April 10th and 11th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is just $7.
Alrighty, thank you.
Military, and antique. They have over 450 tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com or call 724-948-3571 for more information. That's 724-948-3571 for more information. That's Washington County Gun Show, presented by ARH Sports Shop, April 10th and 11th.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. Weather look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly cloudy. The chance for an occasional shower or storm. Daytime high near 67. Overnight low of 47 degrees with a better chance of seeing those rain showers on and off. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. And then you're going to see temperatures rise back into the lower 60s for your Friday under mostly cloudy skies. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Do you happen to know
What day it is?
Yes, I do.
Today is National Promposal Day.
So who are you going to prom with?
Will you go to prom with me?
Oh my God, are you asking me to
Go to the prom with us.
Is it still happening?
Is it happening? Oh, it's happening.
How so?
How so?
Social distancing. Like wear a mask.
I'll wear the mask.
This year is going to be different.
Oh, boy.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's showtime!
This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe and Brad Leonard behind the board in the producer's chair.
Well, 64 degrees, some little light rain outside, cloudy out there. Going to be a really nice and warm day today. We're about at the high, but maybe another degree or two. I do look for some rain to kind of come and go throughout the day. Heavier rain coming in this evening and lingering into tomorrow. Today is my wife's birthday, and that's the big news of the day. Today, Biff, I was trying to convince her that a great birthday breakfast would be sausage, gravy, and biscuits. I told her I think they'd be wonderful for her birthday. You know, it's sausage, gravy, and biscuits. I'd be happy to get it for her. And I did not get a resounding, successful answer to that.
Yeah.
I don't think she actually believed that I was trying to do it for her benefit. I don't know why she would think that. I was only thinking of her. And a little bit of me.
Okay, I was going to say, come on now.
A little bit of me. She's having fun already. The Mario playing has begun. My wife and Teddy are in the other room playing Super Mario Odyssey, I think is the name of the game. Or is it Galaxy? I think this is Odyssey. Teddy and I played it for like 3 hours last night. My wife, bless her heart, she tries to control this kid, you know, and I say, stop it. I went in and she goes, now, Teddy, we've been doing this for half an hour. We'd better stop now. I said, oh, for God's sake. Half an hour? Of course, then Teddy goes, yeah, Grandma, for God's sake, half an hour. I said, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that in front of the little one. So anyway, Super Mario is being played in the other room, even as we speak. The great tax debate has begun in the legislature in West Virginia. We were listening in earlier to some of the questions being asked on the floor of the House of Delegates yesterday. I think both Democrats and Republicans have a lot of questions about this income tax
reduction, sales tax, etc. increase being offered by Governor Justice. We talked to Brad McElhenney a bit about that as well. Governor Justice accuses Joe Manchin of being a wealthy politician. Catch the irony in that, if you would, please. And says that Manchin put federal guidelines on new COVID money so it couldn't be used in West Virginia just to get back at Justice. Governor. What did Brad say? He thinks that Manchin lives rent-free in Justice's mind, and I think that's true. Daylight savings time begins this weekend. Some U.S. senators think it should be made permanent. We've been talking about that. We got a couple folks registered for our Watchdog Madness giveaway. That is really good. Sometimes I wish we had some exciting things like other talk shows around the state do, Biffy. Every day, Hoppy coordinates a group of us who are talk show hosts around the state in sharing our upcoming topics. Down in, is this Morgantown? I think it is. Yeah, Morgantown. They're going to be talking about the shirtless guy who threatens people with a knife. Whoa. There's an interesting subject to be discussing on your show. Shirtless guy threatening people with a knife, apparently, in Morgantown. So sometimes I wish we had a little more excitement to talk about. Then again, sometimes we do have some excitement to talk about here in the local area. In fact, it came to me yesterday from 3 of the local colleges. West Liberty University, Wheeling University, and West Virginia Northern are all a little distressed that the city of Wheeling is apparently working out this memorandum of understanding with Bluefield State College. So Bluefield State would have a location in the old OVMC building here up in the northern panhandle. And the 3 local colleges are pretty ticked off about that. I wanted to see what the city thought about it, so I invited Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott to join us. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Mr. Monroe.
So you've managed to tick off 3 colleges at one time. That's pretty good.
Well, that certainly hasn't been our intention, but yes, it certainly seems that there is some displeasure with the conversation we've had with Bluefield State.
Let's talk about where that actually is, because I honestly don't know. I know that Bluefield State has an interest in locating in the old OVMC building for some of its programs. And you guys have had conversations, and I guess there's a memorandum of understanding out there. Tell me where it actually stands. I want to get to the college's local response, but where does it actually stand, and what are they actually proposing at this point?
Well, I need to give a little bit of background. Obviously, City Council took a very calculated but risky step to acquire the OVMC campus last year. And we gave city staff at that time a very clear mandate that the goal is not for the city to end up owning any of these buildings long-term, with the exception of the VPC building, which will become our police headquarters. The goal for the rest of the campus was to get it back into the private sector, into third parties' hands as quickly as possible, and city staff has done that. And Bluefield State reached out to the city at some point late last year, I believe, and began discussions about using a portion of the OVMC campus to conduct an engineering program. One of the buildings that are on the campus, the old E&A building, it was called. It's, if you drive in the loop of OVMC, it's the building directly to the back there. Has a very large 250 or so person classroom built into it. And that was, I think, the space that they identified as that would work for the program. That came to City Council. City staff negotiated a non-binding MOU. It's very important that all it is a non-binding MOU where we would agree to see sort of assess the feasibility of Bluefield State coming into OVMC in the future at some lease rate to be negotiated. For some period of terms to be, a period of years to be negotiated, and that was approved, assigned by the city manager, approved by the City Council's Development Committee. But as of yet, we've not entered into any lease with them. We haven't, nothing is finalized aside from an agreement to agree, and that's kind of where we are. We've known throughout this process that within the state of West Virginia, the West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission is the ultimate arbiter here in terms of whether or not Bluefield State should enter this market. They have their mission is, of course, is specifically that, is to assess where sort of the market share of different schools within the state, and whether Bluefield State entering this market would create a problem for local schools or otherwise. That's within their purview. You know, we've known that throughout the process. Our understanding was that what Bluefield State was proposing were programs not currently offered here. I take it now that our local schools disagree with that, but you know, we can talk about that. But that's where we are right now. Is really just the city staff identified an opportunity. I sort of brought it to city council. City council said, "Okay, let's see if we can work something out here."
We don't have any, or at least publicly, and I get it if it's there and not made public, that's not my criticism. We don't have any publicly talk about length of a lease or dollar figure for it or anything. Right now, your memorandum of understanding is just, we agree we're going to talk about details. Am I correct about that?
You're correct. I think the one thing the MOU has in it was it did contemplate a period of up to a year of either low or no rent as the space was being prepared. But other than that, you know, the actual terms of that lease were not discussed. We did include in the MOU language that the city, and nothing in the MOU would prevent the city from selling the property to another third party down the road. You know, again, our goal is not to own that property outright at all. But if we can rent the space in the meantime, certainly that's something we felt was in the best interest of the taxpayers, because, you know, the city right now is incurring, you know, considerable holding costs just to keep that property going. And so the more sort of square footage of that campus we can activate and keep moving, you know, the lower cost to the taxpayer.
Did the development committee did Bob Herron, Mr. Lanham have any conversation with, when this was proposed by Bluefield State, did anybody go to West Liberty University, Wheeling University, and say, guys, this is being proposed, do you see a problem with this, or is there any conflict here? Was there any discussion about that?
I do not believe city staff did. I certainly, you know, when it was presented to city council, it was presented to us, you know, as this program did not directly compete with any other existing programs in the area. In hindsight, I'll be the first to admit, you know, I wish we would have reached out to folks. We didn't see this as stepping on anyone's toes. We also didn't see this as a sort of city council's responsibility to regulate what businesses can come and cannot come into this market. You know, Howard, if you look at the city charter, you know, the city council and the mayor are given a very clear guidance in terms of economic development. We are supposed to try to seek outside investment in our community. It says nothing about regulating sort of higher education policy at all. And I don't see that as our role. For example, we've spent a lot of time and energy recruiting the Wheeling Pit Loss Project to come here. That is, by definition, going to compete with local landlords. I don't think it's our fight to pick and choose winners and losers here. I think it's our fight to sort of encourage outside investment in the city of Wheeling.
Yeah, but come on, Mr. Mayor, isn't there some, I don't know what word I want to use, I hate to use the word fairness, but isn't there some level of fairness that says when a far out of the area college, it's not a university, Bluefield State, when a far out of the area college wants to come into our community, which already has numerous higher education institutions, and open up a new program, isn't there a sense of fairness that says to you, you know, let's at least see what West Liberty says, what Wheeling University says, what the community college says? I mean, and obviously it's not your decision. That's an HEPC decision, which I am making a guess, and I don't know for sure. But after a public statement yesterday, I would anticipate these local institutions probably challenging this at the HEPC level. I don't know that. I'm just guessing that. But just basic fairness, doesn't it say, hey, Dr. Evans, Jenny Favid, don't you think that, what do you think about this? Wasn't there any thought about that?
Obviously, Howard, I've had multiple conversations with the three college presidents since. I'm very aware of their concerns. In hindsight, like I said, it would have probably been better had we reached out to them first, just to make sure that, at least that they knew this was potentially coming down the pike. But at the end of the day, I just don't see that as our role to sort of assess what is fair and not fair, what is right. It's a free market thing. I mean, obviously, in the state of West Virginia, higher education is highly regulated, but it's not regulated by local government, and I don't see the role of the city council to decide who can and who cannot conduct higher education courses here in the city of Wheeling. We have we took the risk on and required that OVMC property, and I think our first and foremost, our highest goal for that property and our biggest responsibility is to get it back into third-party use. And the reason we took the property in the first place was to make sure that it doesn't end up sitting there empty for 20 or 30 years and be sort of requiring future demolition. So when it was presented to us as we had an outside entity looking to invest in that property and take over a space of that campus, of course, City Council was initially encouraged. Now, if you polled members on this today, I don't know where City Council would be. I'm speaking for myself. We'll all have to make a decision at some point. But our understanding throughout this, and we had this conversation, was, if this is an issue, if this is an issue of sort of higher education policy, it will be decided by the HEPC in due course. And I fully expect the three colleges, universities here locally to make objections. They've all indicated that they will, and it's certainly their prerogative to do so.
President Favod from Wheeling University in her statement says Wheeling University offers an engineering science major and minor, a program that provides students expert instruction. Wheeling University's engineering program expands on the needs of skilled professionals, offering a minor and a professional certificate in construction management. Soon will offer a BS degree. So the implication here is that they offer similar programs. And again, while it's the HEPC's responsibility to make the decision, I would think that we all want to be careful that we're not seeing an overlap of services. I'm not meaning to be argumentative, Mr. Mayor. I'm just trying to think this thing out loud a little bit here.
I certainly take your point, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Ms. Favod. I absolutely, I understand the situation that she inherited at Wheeling University, and I have full faith and confidence that she is the right person to bring that college, back to where it needs to be. I don't see a role for City Council in getting into the sort of the question of whether or not there's an overlap in higher education courses. I just don't, and maybe that is just a philosophical disagreement that we can have. I take my role on City Council very, very seriously, but I think we are charged by our charter to seek outside investment in the community. Almost any entity that we rent it to at OVMC is going to, by definition, compete with somebody locally. That is the nature of the game when the city gets into the landlording business. Now, again, we want to sell these properties. At the end of the day, we don't want to rent them. But in the meantime, as long as they are sitting there empty, the city taxpayers are incurring a holding cost. We've instructed city staff to get these buildings, market these buildings, and to get them into third-party hands. And the proposal's been presented to us. We recognize this proposal is in a very highly regulated area of sort of commerce and higher education, and we recognize that the HEPC would be the ultimate arbiter there, but we didn't think it's our fight to sort of ascertain whether or not this program or that program is going to directly compete with somebody else. 20 years ago, Mayor Marchene went out and recruited Oric to come into town. You remember that well. Oric is a law firm. Now, what functions here is different from a lot of other law firms, but Oric is by definition competing with local law firms for employees. I think that was a great move by the mayor at that time to go do that, and I commend him for it. But your line of thinking is, well, if that's going to compete with other local law firms, maybe we shouldn't have done that, or we should have talked to local lawyers first. I just don't think that way. I don't think it's the responsibility of the city mayor or council to think that way.
Mr. Mayor, that analogy is not the world's best, though, because Oric was going to expand the opportunity for lawyers here in this area. Theoretically, there is a limited supply of students who want the kind of engineering degree that Bluefield State is saying they're going to offer. And and I stress that word, if it is being offered already here, then it means that the limited number of students will not necessarily take part in local education, but in the Bluefield State education. The President Capehart at Bluefield State told me last night after I asked about this, he said, we are offering accredited programs and they are not. And I don't know whether that is true or not true. But that to me, that also is a difference. Are they offering a different kind of program than what's being offered here. I would suggest to you, sir, and I mean this respectfully, yes, you're a landlord, and yes, as a citizen of the city of Wheeling, I am more with you than opposed to you when you say your responsibility is to get tenants for that building. I get that. But you're not just a landlord, you're also an entity of the city, you're the voice of the people. There is a higher responsibility than just being a landlord here. I mean, there is a responsibility to the community that goes above being a landlord.
I certainly understand that, and I mean, obviously, Howard, I'm not. It doesn't bring me any joy to recognize that actions of City Council have caused these three institutions to have some hard feelings. I certainly hold each of these institutions in very, very high regard, and I do not. I have a great I've had a great relationship with all three of them. I know they're a little mad at me right now, but at the end of the day, I see room for partnering here. I see, one of the things, and I say this all the time, and I'm just going to try to, if you can hear me out for a second, one of the things, our community, if you look up and down this Ohio Valley, our community has really weathered the last 30, 40 years as well as any community. We've had this entire region, and it's right in the middle of the Rust Belt, has seen economic stagnation going back to the 1980s, 1990s. I think Wheeling has done a great job weathering that storm. But I think one of the side effects of so many years of not seeing a lot of economic growth is a sort of a tendency to see anyone else's gain somewhat as coming at your personal expense. I think it's led to some zero-sum thinking. You see it in different entities across the city sometimes, that anything new is seen as a threat to what's already here. I don't think that way. I don't think that most of us on city council think that way. I think we generally think that a rising tide is going to lift all ships, that we want to see more. We want to grow the pie, not just kind of reallocate the slices of the pie that are here. And I think there's room for more. I don't get into the nitty-gritty of higher education policy. That's not my expertise. That's not what I'm charged to do on city council. Our role is to further economic development in the community. The city charter is very, very clear on that. And I can do that while holding these three institutions in high regard and wanting to work with them. We've worked with these schools on other projects before. We've worked with Northern on multiple projects, and I can't say enough about what they've done to the part of downtown that they occupy. And they've done a lot of great work there. We partnered with them a couple years ago on the 18th Street abandonment, and they're doing great work behind the campus right now. But OBMC is in downtown too, and it's a part of the campus. I mean, it's a part of the city we've taken responsibility for, and I think we would be derelict in our duties to turn down an opportunity from an outside entity to bring employees and students into the community.
Again, I think that the city has a slightly higher responsibility than just a landlord, and I also think that higher education institutions are a little bit different than just an economic development business. There's just a little different flavor to higher education than using the example of Oric or using the example of Wheeling Pitt competing with local landlords. Do you plan to, or feel you should, I mean, by you, I mean you as an individual or the city of Wheeling or council, do you plan to reach out to these three institutions on this specific issue and have some conversation or not?
What I told them when we last spoke is that I would like for city council to have a discussion about this, perhaps an executive session, and then I decide whether or not to go forward at some point, because it does involve actual real leasing of city-owned property. We may be able to do that at our next city council meeting and decide. I've talked to individual members of council, but I've not sort of polled anyone. We can't have these conversations as a group, offline, just to see where folks are. I haven't even talked to President Capehart for a while on this either to see. Obviously, he's well aware of all the opposition to this now, and that may change his sort of resolve here or not. So at this point, nothing is binding it.
Let me disabuse you of that based on conversation I had with him last night. This has not changed his thoughts at all.
Yeah. And again, as of now, nothing's been decided. The city council as a whole has not yet sort of embraced any agreement, a long-term agreement with Bluefield State. And those conversations, the idea of the non-binding MOU was to let this process play itself out, and let them get into look at the site, see if the site works for them, and let city council formulate a final opinion on this. But at this point, as of right now, sort of no long-term decision has been made. And I think one thing that would be helpful, although I'm not sure how the process works, is if the HEPC were to weigh in on this sooner than later. I think that would, if we knew the HEPC was going to say no to this, then it would. We wouldn't be wasting our time by sort of pursuing any more discussions. I personally don't have any conversations with the HEPC, and it's not our it's not our prerogative to decide whether or not what they're going to do. I'm not even sure they look to us for our opinion on that. I think they're going to sort of weigh very closely what the three colleges here say, and go. It's also a political body, so I mean, there could be some politics in it and all that, but it's not our decision what they will do. But I can tell you, obviously, I take these concerns seriously. One thing, Howard, when I first met with with officials from Western Northern back in, I want to say it was either end of January or mid-February, I did ask them if they would be willing to meet with President Capehart to talk about some way to collaborate, where the two programs, whatever offered by the schools, could be sort of joint programs or shared. It's my understanding is President Capehart had reached out to them a couple years ago about something, and I guess there wasn't an interest then. And I said to them, if President Capehart would come to Wheeling and meet with you guys, would you talk about a way of potential collaboration? Initially, they said yes, but since they've rescinded that offer to even meet with them, I'm doing what I can to try to sort of avoid any unpleasant outcomes here. I think there's room for everybody. I want this to work, but I think there's been a decision that there's just no room for Bluefield State to enter this community under any circumstances, and I can't sort of fit that vision into my sort of interpretation of my role as mayor and as a member of City Council.
The one question that I would have, and I hope that you would have too, and that somebody needs to resolve is, are these literally non-competing programs, or are they competing programs? In other words, are the local institutions offering the same accredited type programs that Bluefield State wants to offer? If the answer is no, then I don't see any real problem. Bluefield State wants to do something different. They come in. If the answer is yes, I think that there's a need to really have this conversation much deeper, which I guarantee you, I shouldn't say I guarantee you, which I firmly believe you and council will likely do one way or another in the near future.
Well, you're absolutely right that this conversation is going to go on, and I think as a council we need to all weigh in on this, and I'll try to make that happen as soon as possible. But again, I've heard competing things on whether this particular program is offered or not, and we'll agree to disagree that our role is to get into picking and choosing which classes and courses can be taught here in the city. I just don't think it's not our area of expertise. I'm not a higher education policy expert. I don't think anyone on City Council is, to my knowledge, or city staff. So it's just not our purview. We're looking at this through a different prism. I certainly take your point that higher education is a specialized profession and institution here that plays a very important role in our community. But the people who set up the city charter, the people who set up state law, clearly ascribe responsibilities to the HEPC that they did not sort of ascribe to City Council. And so I will agree to disagree on what our role should be in this situation.
Mr. Mayor, I appreciate your time this morning and your honesty on this. It's kind of interesting. Just yesterday I saw you and I said, man, there's just nothing going on in the city we can talk about.
Well, it's never, it's been a quiet few months for us on City Council. We've been getting some stuff on whatever, but you're never going to stay out of the news with stuff like this, and it's part of the job. We're happy to have conversations. We've never shied away from answering questions, and folks may not always agree with us, but I can tell you to a person, everyone on City Council, we are committed to doing what I believe is in the best interest of the taxpayers of the city. And obviously with the OVMC situation, we've made a very calculated risk to take on a very big piece of real estate. And as a result, anything we put in there, you're probably going to see some pushback in some capacity, but we're doing so because we believe it's in the best long-term interest of the city.
All right, Mr. Mayor, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks a lot. You find yourself in a difficult position. I get it. Then again, it's not the first time. So
It's not the first time. We've been here before. All right.
All right, talk to you. Thanks a lot. All right, Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott checking in this morning on this interesting debate now, which I wondered this all along. Bluefield State wants to come in and put an engineering program into the old OVMC building, and I don't conceptually have a problem with that. But the question becomes, does it actually then become competitive with the local institutions? And I don't have a real answer. Obviously, it's a competing institution of higher education. But are the specific opportunities that Bluefield State wants to offer available through any of the other institutions, Wheeling University, West Liberty University, or West Virginia Northern? I don't know. President Capehart told me just last night that they're accredited programs, and there are no other accredited programs like that being offered up here. In reading through the statements from the three presidents last night, actually, it sounds as if maybe there are some competing programs, and I think that's a really critical issue for the city to figure out. I'm with the mayor in saying, hey, their responsibility in owning the old OVMC building is to be a landlord, to put tenants in the building, good tenants that are going to stay there and not trash the building and everything else the good landlords do, and get to recover of their investment. That's the responsibility. But you're not just a landlord; you're also the city of Wheeling, and I do think there is a greater level of responsibility than just a landlord. And I also think that there are different. I just don't buy the argument that the Wheeling-Pittsburgh Steel building is going to be in direct competition with other landlords in the city. It's a totally different kind of project. I mean, on the little level, is it a competition? Yes, but on the bigger level, no. If you're going to buy a loft apartment in downtown Wheeling at the Wheeling-Pittsburgh Steel building, you're not probably in competition to buy a house in Elm Grove, probably. So it's a different level. Certainly the same thing was true with Oric. I get his argument. Oric was a law firm, but Oric was going to expand opportunities here in the local area. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope the council takes some time, really delves into this. I would like to see all the parties get together and discuss it, at least all the local parties. Dr. Evans at West Liberty University, or someone from West Lib, President Favid at Wheeling University, and the Dr. Mosser from Western Northern get together with some group from City Council or from the City Administration and talk about this a little bit. And the specific question I would have, and very specific, is Bluefield State going to offer a program that you offer exactly the same one? If the answer is no, then it makes a lot of this relatively moot. We'll see. We will see. It is funny, though, Biff. Literally, yesterday morning, I was talking to the mayor and the vice mayor, and I said, guys, there's been nothing that we can talk about, nothing on the show to talk about in the city. And they were laughing, going, well, thank heavens we don't have too much controversial going on. And then like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I get this press release from the colleges, and I thought, well, son of a gun, there's something local now to get into. So we will follow that up. All right, 9:41, 19 to the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. 65 degrees, is that what it is? Let me do a quick double check on that. Nope, I'm sorry, 64 degrees with a little bit of light rain, cloudy skies outside. Let's check some headlines for you from Metro News. Billy D's got another sports update for us. We'll be checking in with the Big Seven, see what they're working on today. That's coming up in the next half hour as well. And at 10:06, I'll turn things over to Mr. Kirchhoff. Hoppy's got a lot going on today, including another visit with Clay Marsh. They still call him the Czar, I guess, right? He's still I thought he gave up the Czardus and just as kind of like an advisor. But at any rate, Clay Marsh from WVU, who is working with the governor on his COVID plans. So that's coming up today with Hoppy. I'm looking for the rest of Hoppy's list here today. Delegate Josh Higginbotham from Putnam County on the Fairness Act, which is going to be controversial, I suspect. Jimmy Riston, the Department of Transportation's Deputy Secretary and Commissioner, talking about pothole patching. I got a list. You need a list? Hoppy, want me to send you a list? You can give it to Jimmy while you're talking to him. God, our roads are in terrible shape. All that's coming up today, statewide talk line. Headlines from Metro News right now.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
If I'll do the Capitol report when we come back. And that should get us to Bob.
Help assist along the way, I don't think that we would be where we are today.
Drew Massey talked with Metro News this week from a vaccination clinic set up at a long-term care facility in Jackson County, a return trip to that site. At the state capitol today marks the halfway point of this year's regular legislative session. A Monongalia County delegate says the State Department of Environmental Protection is opposed to changes to the Above-Ground Storage Tank Act implemented after the 2014 Freedom Industries chemical spill, and Delegate Evan Hansen says lawmakers should be following suit.
Because it's worked.
The bill exempting more than 800 tanks passed out of the House Wednesday. Pending in the Senate Finance Committee is a resolution for a proposed constitutional amendment requiring if voters approve that lawmakers sign off on policies from the State Board of Education. Members of the board are opposing that. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. New U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland will be formally sworn in today in Washington. Both U.S. Senators Joe Manchin and Shelley Moore Capito voted for his confirmation in the U.S. Senate. Senator Capito, though, was a no on the new administrator for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Michael Regan. She says it's a policy decision, not personal.
I really liked meeting and getting to know Michael Regan.
From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Shauna Johnson.
Tonight in Buffalo, New York, the Sabres will host the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are 15-9-1 against opponents in the Eastern Division. By the way, in their last 10 games, the Penguins are 7-3-0. Buffalo, they're one of the worst teams in the division. They're 6-14-4. In their last 10 games, they are 1-7-2. Wednesday, the Penguins gained one defenseman and lost one. Mark Friedman returned to practice. John Marino was absent. Head coach Mike Sullivan said it was a maintenance day for Marino. Exhibition baseball. New York Yankees edged the Pittsburgh Pirates 6-5. The 5-4 Pirates will host Baltimore this afternoon. Are you ready for the Big 12 basketball tournament? West Virginia will face Oklahoma State 10:30 this morning with the pregame show on 1600. Well, the Steelers got one of their restricted free agents under contract. Wide receiver / returner Ray McLeod has signed a 1-year deal. Oh, by the way, these are the numbers from the National Football League. The salary cap set for every team, $182.5 million. The Steelers are $6.1 million under the cap. Be safe. Be considerate of others. Please check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio on Sports. We are the Watchdog.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Imagine yourself in a Toyota, like a new 21 Highlander or the all-new 21 Sienna, both with $1,500 cash back. Or check out our new 21 RAV4 and take up the $1,250 cash back. Or a new 21 Camry with up to $1,750 cash back. Visit buyatoyota.com for more deals, local inventory, and to find a dealer near you. You can take cash back or apply toward down payment. Offers vary for hybrid models and exclude TRD models. See your dealer for details. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Offers end March 31st. Toyota.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
There are times when you shouldn't ignore what your body is telling you, and you need to seek medical care. At Wheeling Hospital, we want you to know that we are taking every precaution to make your visit as safe as possible. We're screening visitors using the latest infection control technologies, offering telehealth for physician visits, and more. This is true throughout our campus, in our ER Trauma Center, our physician offices, surgical center, and on our patient floors. The pandemic isn't over, but be assured that at Wheeling Hospital, we are here when you need us.
The 2021 Honda Pioneer lineup is here to make life work of a job and add a heavy dose of fun to your day off. Every Pioneer side-by-side is stock full of smart technology, responsive power, and Honda's hallmark of engineering excellence. The only thing left to add is you. Then you'll understand how life is better on a Honda. For your safety, read the owner's manual, wear a helmet and eye protection, always wear your seatbelt, and keep the side nets and doors closed. Pioneers are for drivers 16 years and older.
Now's the time to finish what you started by completing your degree at Ohio Dominican University.
It's not easy to always get to the finish line, but the only way you're gonna get is you gotta keep moving. Just kept putting one foot in front of the other. There was no quit. I was not gonna give up.
Pursue your bachelor's degree in high-demand fields such as business, risk management, and more. Classes start soon. Get started at ohiodominican.edu/adult.
Technology can be challenging for business leaders, but Omni Strategic Technologies enables your business to perform without limits. They're the only IT company the Watchdog trusts. Omni offers IT managed services, cybersecurity and advisory solutions, backup and disaster recovery, and can handle all your hardware needs. If your business is faced with any technology challenges, the answer is simple. Call Omni Strategic Technologies at 304-242-7600 or visit them at www.omniperforms.com.
Shady Side. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Shady Side trusts the Watchdog.
He rambles, he rants, and sometimes he sings. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
65 degrees, a little bit of light rain at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. It's kind of cloudy out there, but it's going to be a warm day all day today. This is our predicted high. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't pick up an extra degree or two, but that's me. I'm not Zach or Aaron or Dr. Dave. I'm just saying I think at 65 right now, probably go up a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Biffy, we've got college and high school ball today, right?
Yes, we do. At 10:30, we have the pregame for West Virginia and Oklahoma State. And yes, those two teams did meet last week. That was the game that West Virginia had, and unfortunately let Oklahoma State come back and win that game.
And then they didn't have.
That's what happened.
And then they didn't have.
That's why you got to make your free throws. They're important. So, yeah, that'll be pregame at 10:30 and then tip-off at 11:30 this morning. And then tonight we have a good one. When these two teams get together, who knows what will happen. Wheeling Central at Lindsley tonight at 7:30.
That'll be on WKKX and WVOI, so check it out. Let's check out what the folks at the Big Seven are working on today. Our friend Bob Westfall is here. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, Howard, how are you this morning?
It's a what is it? It's a Thursday. It's a Thursday. And, it's warm. It's my wife's birthday. I got to come up with something to give her in the next 2 or 3 hours.
Well, there's a lot of places to deliver now, so Howard, you should be okay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's a little bit too late to get an Amazon delivery. I think so. I have to work on something. So that.
She's probably never had a birthday before this, so it kind of snuck up on you, I'm sure.
Little did I know. Exactly right. What are you working on today?
All right, here's some of the things we're working on. We just got into the newsroom, an update on the shooting last night. Let's see, it was 46th and Jacob Street. Apparently 2 victims found. The first victim has been treated and released and then taken into custody by Wheeling Police. He was wanted out of Belmont County. The second victim still remains hospitalized with non-threatening injuries. So they are still actively investigating and gathering information in this area. So that is just into our newsroom from Philip Stahl, PIO for Wheeling Police and Fire. So still looking for the shooter, it looks like. 2 victims. One has been treated, released, and is now in custody, probably heading to Belmont County for a warrant. And the other one's still in a local hospital with non-threatening injuries. So a little bit of update on that shooting last night that we brought to you. Actually, we brought to you first on our digital. I think it was on Twitter pretty quick last night. So it is spring, so we may, people are out, so that we may see a few more things like that. But anyway, Wheeling Police is working on that. A couple other things we're working on is vaccine scams are up over 300%. It never seems like we can stop doing scam stories, but according to a recent survey, this is website scams themselves, 300% increase, especially targeting the elderly, who are probably very active in trying to get the vaccination as we roll through the pandemic. So we're going to talk to acting U.S. Attorney today for the Northern District and get an update on what's going on and what people need to be aware of when it comes to these kind of scams.
It's just we talked about it before, Bob. It's amazing to me. There's a scam for everything anymore.
Yeah. And you know what? They're getting more sophisticated. We've got. It just seems like it's more and more sophisticated each day. They're copying phone numbers. They're doing a lot of things. So it's just we're going to talk to the U.S. Attorney and find out what people need to know when it comes to scams and what they can do to fight it. So that's something we're working on. If you remember a couple weeks ago, Harrison County, Ohio had a fatal accident on US 22 just outside of Cadiz. We're going to talk to the Department of Transportation, District 11 out of New Philly. They are planning some safety upgrades along that stretch. Excuse me. And if you've ever driven that stretch, you know there are a couple left turn lanes where people turn onto the side streets and the county roads and stuff like that. And a lot of people, if you're not familiar with the area, you don't know those are coming up. So I'm going to talk to Lauren Burrell with ODOT, find out what their safety plans are, what they're going to do to try and make that stretch of highway a little bit safer, because I know we've covered accidents out there, fatal accidents, time and time again. So that'll be a welcome change for that stretch of highway. Let's see. Also, we're talking about rain earlier, and by the way, to practice meteorology without a license, Howard, yeah, that's about 10 years in jail. So just be careful.
Okay, I could get in trouble for that. I'll be more careful. All right, thank you very much.
Aaron's working on a story I thought was kind of interesting when I came across it. It's called biometeorology. You know, people talk about, oh, my knee hurts when it's going to rain and things like that. Well, apparently there is a science behind that.
Really?
That, it's called biometeorology. So Aaron talked to an expert in the field, so we're going to find out exactly what it is and what that means to you and me when our knees hurt or, sinuses, some of the heavier weather and stuff rolls in. So I guess there's something
when you say an expert in the field, is it like some guy just got a bum knee? Is he the expert?
Howard, now you know better than that. We're real news here.
Oh, okay.
When I say expert, I mean expert.
Real experts. Okay, somebody who actually has a degree or experience or something. Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, not Uncle Joe out in the cornfield or anything like that.
Okay. All right. I got you.
I thought it was kind of interesting. I've never heard of such a thing when I came across the other day. And Aaron jumped on it and took the lead on it. And so we're going to find out what that is today.
That sounds interesting, actually.
I'm going to sneak in here real quick. Aaron, actually, speaking of Aaron, he is right now at the Brooke County Courthouse. Brooke County is honoring a deputy who apparently saved a life up there. So we're going to get that information here shortly. I got a little bit of details on that, but we're going to find out what this deputy did to be honored. But apparently he saved a life. So I love that story, too.
All right, sounds good. Check it all out today at noon, 5, 6, 10, and 11. Of course, 5:30 for statewide news, and always at WTRF.com. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow to wrap up the week.
All right, man. You guys take it easy.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Biffy, you know who I think I'm going to try and get on tomorrow, but he's working for MSNBC this week and for NBC and for CNN. But our buddy Jack Rice has been right in the midst of the George Floyd murder trial that's going on up in Minneapolis. And if he can get away from MSNBC for a while and join us, I'm going to try and see if he'll come on and talk to us about the trial of Derek Chauvin there. That's just one thing I'm working on for tomorrow. But I got to go, so I guess I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Go to More Willing Creeks Don't Rise. Are you back with me, Biff?
Back to close out the week.
We'll keep on doing it till we get it right.
That'll be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
About how far we've come.
I swear, one of these days I'm going to try and get on schedule. I was doing good there for a week or so, and then it's just, we got everything in though, right? All right, that's good. All right, anything else going on I should know about? All right. So we're only running part of Hoppy today then, I guess. 10:30. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll be around playing Super Mario Brothers and trying to come up with something for my wife for her birthday, other than sausage gravy and biscuits. So, if you need anything, I'll be around. Feel free to give me a call. Otherwise, I will talk to you. I have nothing planned for tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's Friday. We'll have McCabe. Other than that, I've got nothing planned. But I may try and get Jack on. But he's been doing MSNBC every day. He's doing NBC News. I think CNN. He's a busy man on this George Floyd story, but he may make time for us. He usually says he'll make time for us. So I may get him in. It's the first week, so maybe he can wrap up the trial of this week so far. We'll see. All right, if you need me, just give me a buzz. Otherwise, thanks for your help today, and I will talk to you in the morning. Now I'm going to go right over the edge, I guarantee you.
10 seconds and I'm dead and all my coins go away. It's just the way it is. All right, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. All right, bye.
America have detailed all the dirty little government secrets in their free report, The Secret War on Cash, and it's available now by calling 800-289-2646. Why don't you write that down? 800-289-2646, because time's running out to take action. Don't become the next victim in this battle. Get The Secret War on Cash. Call 800-289-2646. And be sure to tell them Pat Boone gave you this number, 800-289-2646.
Another accusation against New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, this one the most serious yet. The Albany Times-Union reporting a woman saw Cuomo groped her last year. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
The woman who still works for the administration has not filed a formal complaint, but her allegations will be included in the state attorney general's investigation. Governor Cuomo says in a statement he's never done anything like this. Quote, "The details of this report are gut-wrenching. I am not going to speak to the specifics of this or any other allegation given